Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm here with a very interesting topic. So interesting in the sense you will just wonder what is that interesting topic. Yes, of course, I'm talking about interesting gestures. Every one of us use gestures in communication. Especially when we go to a country, we know that actually there are certain kind of gestures. There are certain gestures used with the hand and the facial expressions are also there. And if you do not know them exactly, sometimes you will get confused. What do they really mean? And for example, in India and in most of the countries, we use different signs like for showing okay, we use this sign. But at the same time, in some countries, the meaning of this sign is different. So let's have a look at it. See, in most of the countries, this sign, that means holding this thumb and point finger and showing these three, and it shows actually it's an okay sign. And this is acceptable in most of the countries. And in America also, they consider it as an okay sign. But when it comes to Japan, what they think is, this is a sign of money, right? They think that whenever somebody shows this gesture, it shows money. But when it comes to Brazil, Brazil things are very different. If you show this symbol in Brazil, you should be very careful because the Brazilian people take it as something rude or something arrogant from your side. Another gesture is like this, keeping my thumb inside. And it is actually in America and all, it is used for a small game. Whenever you play with kids, you say that I have got your nose, right? But if you show the same sign in Turkey, and they consider it is an obscene or it is actually a bad sign and they don't like it if somebody is showing this sign. But if it is the same sign, you show this in Brazil, and they consider it as actually it is a charm or it is a good luck and to ward off the evil eye. And for example, if somebody building some houses or something, and if somebody shows this kind of sign, and people think that it is a good thing that all the evils, all the problems will go off. And at the same time, if you show this sign in Indonesia, it's again an offensive term. But according to American Sign Language, they consider this as, we know that actually there are people who can't talk, they communicate, they use gestures for communication. And they use this sign for showing the letter T. So that is another thing that we need to know. That means in different countries, they take different types of sign and for communication. And everybody knows what this sign is. Yes, this is a V sign. And most of the countries, they consider it as the victory sign. But in China, North Korea, Thailand, Taiwan, in these countries, they take it as a sign, especially when they taking a photography. Or when they take a photo, they're posing for a photo, they just take these kinds of signs, showing this sign. But in countries like UK and South America, Australia, New Zealand, etc., if this sign is actually victory, but if you turn this back, they take it as, what you can say, it is a gesture or something showing something arrogance, or what you can say, you are ill-treating that fellow. Then another sign is this one. See, but this is not that common in India and these Eastern countries. But in Western countries, this is common. And this means, and you can find an L shape here, it means you're a loser. Right. Whenever Americans want to show that you are a loser, they use this sign on the toe. But in China, they use this sign to show number 8. Okay. So they consider it actually this sign for number 8. And that's what I said, because there are some very interesting things. So for example, if an American goes to China and he does not know, or what you can say, if he calls somebody as a loser, and the Chinese people will understand it as number 8. Then another one, this sign, I think most of the people know it, thumbs up, right? In America and the Western countries, it means good. And but in Iraq and Iran, so when it comes to these Arabian countries, you should be very careful when you use this thumb, because they took it as an insult, and what you can say, they sometimes take it as a derogatory term, or something you are just harassing or insulting, you are, what you can say, teasing a person. So when you are in Iraq or Iran, don't use this sign. That will harm you. Yes, we have another sign. This is called the pinky up. For example, when you take a cup of coffee, you'll be looking at another person in this form. Your eyebrows will be up, and you'll be looking at that person and you'll be speaking something. And this is called a pinky up. And generally in America and all, it is actually a fancy one. And for example, whenever you make a promise, while taking a tea, if you make a promise and they feel that it should not be broken, okay, so that is why they use this called pinky up, or it is also called as the pinky swear also. And there is another very interesting one. For example, in some countries, they show for calling somebody, come here, you come here, they show this sign. But remember, if you show this kind in countries like India or in some other countries, they take it as very derogatory. And but in America and Ecuador, countries like Ecuador and all, they take it as, okay, when seducing someone or when calling someone, they use it. But if you go to Philippines and they use this sign to call dog, now you understand what is the problem. And at the same time, it's a derogatory use on people. That means if you call a person from Philippines like this, they don't mind getting you arrested. Okay, well, let's talk. Yes, this is another sign used showing, most of the countries, this sign shows okay or stop, right? Okay, and even teachers sometimes tell you, stop talking. We use like that. And but this sign also is considered an insult in some countries. For example, in Greece, if you show that, and also in some areas of Pakistan, for example, in Sindh and all, if you show this sign, they take it as an insult. And but in some countries like Panama, Mexico and all, they use it as for telling hi. Even back in India also, we know we use hi when greeting people. And otherwise, when somebody is angry also, hey, I'll show you. So this is also used. In Malaysia, this is called as God hand. You know why? Because this hand we use to stop the cars down. No, definitely we know that we need the help of God and to stop the car. There is another very interesting gesture. And for example, if you show like this, in most of the movies we have seen, no? This is, yes, you are dead gesture. That is a gesture showing a slit to the neck means you are done for. And again in Japan, this sign actually means, and a sign like cutting off your head, actually it means you are fired in Japan. Because in Japan, the word kubi, which means fired from job, and which has almost a similar pronunciation of kubi, that means neck in Japan. So that is another interesting thing. Again, there is another interesting gesture from Italy. And for example, that sign, they show it like this. See, look at this. And this sign is actually, when two persons are talking, if the other person didn't understand, they show this sign. That means your message is unclear. And also, you can ask, what are you saying? In order to ask that, they show this sign. In Malaysia and all, they use sign to show, wait a minute, I'm coming. So for showing that one in Malaysia, they use this one. And if these both hands are kept together, and American Speakers Association, or they call it as actually, if both hands actually, especially the as American Sign Language, they call it as a kiss. Okay, if you bring both hands like this and what you can see, if the tip touches the lip, it's a sign of kiss in American Sign Language. Then I'm talking about a common sign that is almost all the part of the world. Yes, now you understood. Yes, the smelly gesture. And this is almost everywhere it is the same. In America, and they from what you can say left to right, they wave it, and the palm facing front of your face. So that is quite common everywhere. Whenever they feel that it is actually a smell comes, a foul smell comes, they do. But in Japan, this sign they use whenever they want to speak no, or whenever they say impossible, or no, thank you. So they use this sign. So when you show this sign in Japan, remember, they may understood it as impossible or no. See, that is another we call as the smelly gesture. And at the same time, we have a very interesting sign, and that many people are interested. I know that. When I show this, you must have understood what that sign is. Yes, this sign is called the money gesture. That means your thumb and repeatedly rubs the tip of index finger and it shows money sign. And we know that money is always everywhere it is same, and people call it as money sign. And if you go to the different part of the world, you can find that. And at the same time in South Korea, they use this sign, and if they keep this on here, okay, if they keep this here, and it is a similar, somewhat similar gesture to our the wood money gesture. If they keep this here without rubbing, and it is used for expressing love. So that is in South Korea, especially if a person shows like this. And there comes another one. This and especially kids, when playing, they use this like to show that actually yes, animal ears or horns. And this is in America and all, generally they don't use it, but when kids play, they use this sign, and especially to imitate animal. But in Japan, they take it as a demon horns. They think that actually it is not a good sign. Okay, if somebody shows that, it's not a good sign. And now there comes the next one. And look at my finger. See, I keep it like this. In America, if you show like this, it means hopping for good luck. But if you show the same finger, this kind of gesture in Vietnam, you will be behind bars. They'll put you in jail because it is one of the derogatory signs in Vietnam. But for American sign language system, they consider this is as a sign of letter R. And finally, we have this. And most of our youth, you know what this sign is, yes. And this is a sign of rockers, right? And whenever the bike riders or something, and whenever they want to say rock on, they use this sign, right? The horn fingers, we call it as the horn fingers gestures. So in countries like Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Cuba, Spain, Italy, Portugal, in these countries, if you show this sign, it means that their spouse has an illegal affair with another person. So be very careful. This rock-on symbol will have a different interpretation if you are in Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Cuba, or such countries. So I think now you got an idea about the interesting gestures. And if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for notification. And thank you for watching, and wait for the next video.